18.
No.
Did the press ever talk to you, Agent Strzok, about this issue? Did they ever come to you?
The Trump-Russia collusion investigation?
Did the press ever come to you? I'm asking first, did you talk to them? I'm asking now, did they ever come to you about anything related to the Trump-Russia investigation in 2016, 2017, or 2018?
I received a number of calls from various members of the media, particularly when I returned from the Office of Special Counsel. In every instance,
prior to going on the special counsel team, did you get any inquiries from the press that you took?
Not that I took. I referred them to the Office of Public Affairs of the FBI.
Have you read the dossier?
I have.
Okay, and you wrote about it too, didn't you?
I don't know what you mean by writing about it.
We got an email that you sent. It should be presented there, or should be in front of you there. I want you to take a look at this. This is an email you wrote to Lisa Page, Bill Priestap, Jim Baker, Jim Rubicki, and CC'd Andy McCabe. Subject line is BuzzFeed's about to publish the dossier. You familiar with this email?
I am.
All right. Says this: comparing now, the set is only identical to what McCain had. Parentheses, it has differences from what was given to us by Korn and Simpson. You write all that?
Congressman, I
don't recall.
Let me answer it this way. First, if I could address the chairman. Over the break, I was authorized by the General Counsel.
Hang on a second. I just want my time stopped if you could. Are you addressing the chairman?
I'd like to address the chairman. This is all going to come together in an answer.
Is there a question you want to direct?
No, it's something I wanted to answer your question from earlier based on something I've been told by the FBI.
Wait.
I think I'm aware of what the FBI told you, and you and I will have another chance to talk about that. But right now, the gentleman from Ohio controls the time.
You wrote this. That was the question.
So obviously,
do you see the from?
Congressman, here's
the from line. Do you see the from line?
Congressman, I do.
It says
I
Peter
understand.
Strzok. And then it says to Lisa Page and a whole bunch of other key people at the FBI. So did you write it?
I did write this.
All right. Let me ask you a couple questions about it.
It
has
so
differences from what was given to us by Korn and Simpson.
Wasting time.
Sir, to answer that question, and I would love to answer that question. And every part of me, and you know why I'd want to answer that question, because you have this information.
Who's Simpson?
I have been, sir, if I may. I cannot answer that question.
You wrote about it. It's now public. Who's Korn? Who's Simpson?
Based on direction by the FBI, sir, I am not able to answer questions about ongoing investigative matters.
I just want to figure this out.
We all do.
You're referencing 3 copies of the dossier.
I love that, man.
The BuzzFeed copy you have, the one John McCain's staff gave to you, and the one that you said you got from
both his phones, FBI,
the one
and
McCain gave to you, and the one BuzzFeed has
his
are
personal
identical
public.
in your words, but they have the Korn and Simpson one is different.
Wait,
so
how did that go?
Important. It is important, and I want to answer your question. And here's the position that I'm in, Congressman. I have been directed.
Pickle.
Mr. Chairman, may the witness be permitted?
Mr. Chairman,
Democrats.
Mr. Jordan repeatedly answered the question, doesn't let him answer it.
The gentleman from Ohio controls the time.
Get him.
I have been directed that I may state that I have read the dossier, that I read the dossier as it came in parts and pieces.
You've already told me you read it. And I want to know who Korn and Simpson are.
Stop
sir,
bopping around the baloney, getting around the question.
I have been directed I may not state the various places where
let me ask
the
you this.
FBI
I got it. I know what you're saying. Did you ever communicate with David Korn?
No.
Did you ever communicate with Glenn Simpson?
No.
Did you ever communicate with Nellie Orr?
No.
Did you ever communicate with Bruce Orr?
Yes.
When did you communicate with Bruce Orr?
My recollection is somewhere between 3 or 4 or 5 times in the late 2016, early 2017 timeframe.
What did you talk about?
We talked about investigative matters that Mr. Orr was involved in.
Did you talk about the investigation we're focused on here, Agent Strzok?
My direction from the FBI.
Look like you got handed a note.
I got. Let's go back to the email that you sent that you won't talk about. Are there 3 copies of the dossier as evidenced by what you said in this email?
Sir, to be clear, I want to talk about this email.
Then what?
You say that all you want, but you're not talking about it.
Amen.
Are there 3 copies?
3 copies of what?
The McCain copy, the BuzzFeed copy, and the one that you got from Korn and Simpson.
Sir, the most I can say is we received a variety of copies of and different types of.
Let me ask you one other question. Glenn Simpson testified in front of the Senate Judiciary
you
Committee
read
on
this.
August 22nd, 2017.
Constitution.
He was asked, did anyone from Fusion ever communicate with the FBI? His response, no. No one from Fusion ever spoke with the FBI. So here's what I'm having trouble understanding. If Glenn Simpson says no one ever spoke with the FBI, how is it that you got a copy of the dossier from Simpson?
Sir, I can tell you I never had contact with Fusion, with Mr. Simpson, with Mr. Korn. And again, sir.
I'm wasting time.
The gentleman will have a few more seconds since he was interrupted.
Hey, yeah.
Well, I mean,
He needs more than...
this is the frustration that every single member of this committee feels is
Tell him.
When Agent Strzok won't answer, well, more importantly, the
Fucking
American
smirk
people,
off
when
your-
Agent Strzok won't
excuse my
answer
language.
fundamental questions like the guy he references in an email, Korn and Simpson, and won't tell me who they are.
Right. I mean...
This is unbelievable, but that's where it's gotten to now, and it's as frustrating as it can get, Mr. Chairman.
Justice is
Mr.
coming,
Chairman,
though.
may I respond?
These people
Briefly.
do not know the
Sir,
meaning
it
of
is
justice,
as
the
frustrating
word.
to me as it is to you.
I
can
want to cut
tell
this
you,
video
sir,
off.
I
Like,
would
Well,
love...
you know what,
if there's
Agent
an appropriate-
Strzok?
Get it.
Mr. Chairman, may the witness
Me,
be
you,
permitted
me,
to
me.
answer.
If it's so, if
Gentlemen will suspend.
wipe
if
that
it's so
smirk off your
frustrating, answer the
face. You,
question.
If you'll allow him to, I'm sure he will.
He has never
like he
answered
did the
question.
Rosenstein.
We're about
The
to-
gentleman, the gentleman from Ohio.
That's
to
my
stop
guy right there. I
badgering
like him.
and around the question.
We're about to move on. The gentleman from Ohio's time's expired. And we're about to move on where Mr. Strzok can answer a question that he refused to answer earlier on advice
Alright, I'll get this on there.
counsel. And I'm going to
Probably
yield to
end
Mr.
it.
Gowdey for the purpose of doing that right now.
People
Mr.
are out of
Chairman,
their
before
mind
Mr.
if they
Gowdey
think they're
starts,
going to
may
get
I
away with all
respond to Mr.
this.
Jordan?
Very briefly.
They win battles, but they don't win the
Briefly, sir,
war. Like,
I would love to do that. There is an appropriate time for oversight, and
Gowdey, I let
him
him and Jordan and Gowdey.
It's concluded. I am certain Congress will absolutely have the opportunity to look at any
Who's
investigation
FBI?
once it's closed.
That's a new guy
ask
right
all these
there.
questions, and I would love to answer each and every one of your questions.
But
Mr.
I
Strzok,
do
that's
not
about
do
you.
it.
Already know that answer from you, and you have already been advised that you can answer the questions here.
But
because
you
guess
refuse
what? This is
to.
the United States Congress where you're testifying,
Smirk off.
not under the jurisdiction of the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Mr. Chairman, we cannot be asking about an ongoing investigation that is sabotaging an ongoing investigation by this committee, and that's what he's not cooperating with, and we should not do it.
It is
and he
not-
cannot cooperating with that.
It is. These questions are table-setting questions regarding the formation of
Them
of
too,
this,
yeah.
and he can answer those questions, but
Cannot answer
he's
questions
been
regarding an
advised by
ongoing
the FBI
investigation.
that he can, and so Mr.
He's been
Gowdey's
advised by the FBI that he cannot.
No, he's been advised that he can, and Mr. Gowdey's going to again ask his question.
A gentleman from Ohio has asked for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Agent Strzok. Who's being square here? Glenn Simpson says no one from Fusion spoke with the FBI. You say in your email, we got a copy of the dossier from Simpson.
Mr. Chairman,
being square?
regular order.
Regular.
We will have regular order, and we'll revisit that question. Now the chair recognizes the gentleman from South Carolina.
Agent Strzok, between July 31st, 2016 and August
Mr. Chairman,
6th.
regular order.
Chill.
This is regular order. The gentleman refused to answer
Stop
the
being
question
bullies. You
earlier.
can't be
He has
bullies
now
your whole
been
life. It ain't-
advised, and I have been
You're already the
advised
minority.
by the FBI that he may answer the question that was in order earlier, and he's now going to answer the question.
But, Mr. Chairman, Republicans have controlled the time. Now the time goes to the
That's that
Democrats.
one guy that talks
The
about islands getting
gentleman
flipped
will be
over.
recognized shortly.
Agent
Money.
Strzok, between July 31st, 2016 and August 6th, 2016, how many witness interviews did you conduct as part of the Russia-Trump campaign alleged collusion investigation?
I don't recall, and I'd have to check the case file.
We waited all that time for that answer?
Yes, sir.
That's eerily similar to what you said a couple hours ago.
Sir, I am telling you, and I would reject the characterization that I refuse to answer anything. I want to answer these questions.
But I don't.
I just
Direction
asked
that I
you one.
received from the FBI.
I just asked you one, and I'm looking for a number.
Sir, my
I'm
answer
looking
is
for a
Get
number.
him.
I do not know without the opportunity to check the case file.
You don't recall in the first week
Wasting time.
of an
Obstructionist.
investigation that you
Just like Trump
originated,
said.
approved, or the contact person on, you don't recall how many witness interviews you did in the first week.
Sir, I remember that there were interviews conducted. I do not know when they fell on a calendar to be able to tell you whether they were
When's the
in
last
any
time
set
you
of
looked
date
at-
or the other on something that was occurring in the context of a myriad other
We're
responsibilities.
still
When's the last
order.
time you looked at the file, Agent Strzok?
Watch.
Probably going on a year.
For those of us who happened to look at it yesterday, would you disagree that the first interview took place on August the 11th?
I don't know, Congressman. I cannot answer that.
Well, prior to July 31st, 2016, how many witness interviews did you conduct as part of the Russia-Trump campaign alleged collusion investigation?
None.
So none before July 31st, which would be none at the time you said what you said in that text on July 21st.
I don't understand the text you're referring to.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. This is on our time.
Well, no, two more questions. He didn't. He wouldn't.
Yeah, he's got that Jordan guy.
Between May
Explain
17th.
why he can continue in our time.
He can he's not on your time.
Not
It's
mine
on-
personally,
it's
Democratic
on, It's
time.
on our time because he was advised earlier by the FBI that he could not answer the questions, and now he's advised that he can. So the questions will be asked and answered.
Between May 7th.
Parliamentary inquiry. What rules do we follow?
Come
to
on.
dictate such an answer by you, Mr. Chairman?
We are following the rules of the committee.
He's like,
Did
got
you
this
cite the rule?
smirk on
The
my.
gentleman will present.
Just, Mr. Chairman.
This guy on the right there.
There seems to be well.
The one doing all that.
The
Mr. Chairman, point of parliamentary inquiry.
Can continue.
And another guy in the
but when
front.
You do, and the FBI tells him he can't answer a question, and then they change their mind and says he can. We're going to take the time out to do that, and then we're going to continue.
Mr. Chairman, point of parliamentary inquiry.
The gentleman
Democratic
from South
members of the
Carolina
have a
is
right to
recognized.
know what the rules are
Yeah.
governing this hearing.
Agent-
Gentlemen,
can you share with us
the
these
gentleman
secret rules
is not
that
in
you're
order.
making up as you go
Gentlemen.
along?
Agent Strzok, between May 17th,
Hmm.
2017 and May 18th, 2017,
No
how many
comment.
interviews did you conduct as part of the special counsel team?
Again, the FBI told me not to
I
answer.
don't believe I conducted any.
Between May 17th, 2017 and May 22nd, 2017, how many witness interviews did you conduct in that 5-day period?
Well, so you just went back a year from 2018 to 2017, and I don't know.
2017, May
You go back
17th,
2016
2017,
on this
May
BS.
22nd,
Excuse me.
2017.
Yeah, I believe you may have said 18, but 17, I don't know.
Whether I did or not, it's the 17th, 2017.
Fair enough, and I
I'm
don't recall.
wasting that time.
Well, Chairman, I appreciate you letting me make that clear. And again, the context when you would not answer it was you used the word impeachment on May the 18th, 2017, and you used the word impeachment
He out
on
of
May the
his
22nd,
mind.
2017. And your testimony is you can't recall a single interview you would have done as part of that investigation that was supposed to lead to impeachment. And I think that line of questioning, I'm glad the FBI finally realized it, albeit a couple hours too late. When you are prejudging not just a result, but a punishment, which is what impeachment is, when you are prejudging the conviction and the sentencing, when you have not conducted a single solitary interview, I'm sorry, Agent Strzok, but that is letting your bias impact your professional judgment.
Mr. Chairman, may I respond?
Briefly.
Sir, so look, I never prejudged anything. Not in this case, not in any others.
Impeachment for what, Agent Strzok? Impeachment for what?
Second of
Point of
all,
order, Mr. Chairman, what are the rules here? Mr. Chairman, what are the rules? The gentleman will
He's
allow
opening
the
up a whole new
witness to
round of
answer the
questions.
question, and then we'll move on.
second,
He was given time to respond,
the
and now
notion, at the time I was the deputy assistant director, I have section chiefs, unit chiefs in the field, supervisors, agents, people who typically do interviews, not me. If something is notable or high level, I might be involved, but it would be rare, if never, that I would typically get out there and conduct interviews. First of all. Second, you mentioned the use of the word impeachment. That was used in the context of my not knowing what this would lead to. I was not prejudging impeachment. When I used that term, it was saying
Agent.
it might lead all the way
Thank
to something on the
Thank
other.
you, Agent Strzok.
Agent
The
Strzok,
chair
are
now
you kidding?
recognizes the gentleman from Missouri, Mr. Clay.
Thank you,
5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, and Special Agent Strzok. I just continue.